After taking the first 2 games of the 4-game set at home against the Chicago Cubs, the Cardinals did drop the last 2 to split this series. Willis Contreras seems fired up and makes me interested to see what happens with Cubs Cardinals next week when the Cardinals go to Wrigley Field. But on today's episode, we'll break down this Cubs Cardinals series, the first one of the year, which had plenty of highs, plenty of lows. And then we'll also do our June tier lists for how we feel about each of the Cardinals and the team as a whole so far on the 2025 season on this episode of Deal on the Card. Welcome back into Deal on the Card. My name is Josh, joined by Andrew. Sandy's out for the next few weeks, getting married Saturday, so congrats to my man. We did get Cardinals Cubs today, though. Every time I think of that, I immediately think of the interleague play thing from Sandy, because it's kind of crazy it's taking this long to play the Cubs, but we finally got here. First 2 games of the series, he had incredible wins from the Cardinals. That game on Tuesday was maybe game of the year for St. Louis so far, with so many iconic, memorable plays. That Nolan play at third base will go, it'll be hard not to remember that for a long time. The PCA blunder in center field will be hard not to remember for a long time. But you do want to forget Eric Fetty's start on Wednesday and the 8-0 mashing that the Cardinals took. You do want to forget getting shut out by Shota Imanaga. 2 straight lefties on the mound. These 2 games were the 2 that, when you saw you had Matthew Boyd and Shota on the mound, you knew the Cardinals offense already struggled against left-handed pitching. The first 2 games are the ones you really needed to get, and they did it, but it's still disappointing that they couldn't at least get the series win after a strong performance the first 2 games. But personally, I have a hard time getting upset about it against the Chicago Cubs. They're leading the division. I think there's some things you can poke holes in the team right now, and how they perform this year, that make me think, hey, are they all that good? I don't know what to make of that. But your thoughts on this series from against the Chicago White Sox, and then we'll get into some discussion about our tier list.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs coming into this series, one of the best records in all of baseball, and to be able to do what they did in the first 2 games, I think deserves some credit. And we didn't, unfortunately, go live after those 2 games. Otherwise, I think the vibes would have been a little bit higher. But I came into this series saying that if they did anything more, if they split or did anything more than that, I would be feel okay about that with this team. And I'm not going to move the goalposts on that. They did it in the worst way in terms of sequencing. I would it would have been better if they had lost the first 2 and then came back, so they have momentum going into the Cleveland series. But at the end of the day, nothing really happened in the division race. And you were at least I was kind of looking after the Reds series to this series as kind of a test of what is this team, how are they going to look, because they have been playing a little bit better against some of the weaker teams, like the White Sox. The Reds have been playing better, but that's still not a team that I'm going to put too much stock into after just a really slow stretch against Toronto and Milwaukee. So I feel okay about it after this. There's certain things that I'm concerned about. Obviously, hitting against left-handed pitching is going to be a big problem. Shota Imanaga, we can give him his credit. We can not give him his credit. He was throwing the ball around 90 miles an hour today. He had good command, looked like he was sharp, but to not even really put the ball in play that heavily just shows how weak this team is against left-handed pitching. And that's not just the Shota Imanaga issue. Matthew Boyd went 7 innings, shutout yesterday. He's had a great season too, but it's been really difficult to come by runs against those types of left-handed starters. And I think they're facing 3 consecutive righties in Cleveland, which is good. So hopefully they can score some runs against a pitching staff that, isn't that strong, at least in terms of the starters that they're facing this weekend. But that's definitely something I'm worried about. Ivan Herrera being healthy, I think, would make that a lot better. Lars Nootbaar being healthy, which he should be back and ready to go tomorrow. But him being healthy, I don't know how it would have worked against Imanaga, because he already has trouble hitting splitters and he has trouble hitting left-handed pitching. So I'm not too upset that he wasn't in the lineup. The explanation, obviously, that he was dealing with some pain, that makes me feel a little bit better that they're just not letting him play. I would have rather he started against Boyd and not Imanaga if he was healthy. But either way, that's unfortunate, but he should be back soon for that. And then Eric Fetty, you and Brendan had a nice discussion about Eric Fetty yesterday. I wish I got to chime in on that. And no, I'm not just hating on Eric Fetty because he had a bad start yesterday. His metrics have looked bad all season. He's been walking everybody, not sustainable, and they didn't sustain yesterday. So, that's something I'm going to be looking towards. He was at like a 3.5, 3.6 coming into the start yesterday. Now he's in like the mid 4s.
It's like a 4.10 now.
Yeah, so not a great look from who had been your he had the lowest ERA on the staff, I believe, coming into that start.
Yeah,
which is funny, but also like not great, right? Because that's the guy who has one of the worst xERAs in the league, just walking everybody. Not a lot of strikeouts, some hard contact in the air, and with the ball flying at Bush today or this series, that really came back and hurt him. That's not something that you want to see continue, but it probably is something that will continue going forward. But I guess we can start evaluating some of those players today. I think Eric Fetty is the one who is at the start of the tier list every time, and finally we can stop putting him in like B tier because his expected metrics don't look good, but he's been getting results on the field. So
yeah. Only thing I'll add to like all this too is like, again, like baseball is a matchups game too, right? And the Cardinals drew terrible matchups in the last 2 games of the series, and they had good matchups that they needed to take advantage of in the first 2. They took care of business in the first 2. They looked pretty pathetic in the last 2, and there's things to be concerned about and there's things to be excited about. I think overall it's a pretty like, to your point, it's like if you flip those 2 games, those are the last 2 games, the first 2 games of the series, and the first 2 games or last 2 games, it's probably a very different vibe from the stream right now from people. But it feels like lately every time we go live, it's right after a loss, even though they won the series or they took 3 of 4, they took 5 of the last 6. But of course we go live on the 6th game when they lost it. It's just like, it always kind of mutes it a little bit there. But I think to your point, like their ability to hit left-handed pitching has been a problem all year. And it just becomes even bigger when Jordan Walker, who hasn't been good against left-handed pitching all year, but like he's one of those right-handed bats that they wanted to do that production from. He's not producing. You don't have Ivan Herrera right now. Lars Nootbaar, again, he's not like a phenom against left-handed pitching, but he's better than having Garrett Hampson in there right now. Again, there's just a lot of things working against them in that department on top of it already being a weakness. So it's just like, okay, if all times to come up against Shota and Matthew Boyd, this was not it. But again, they have this series against the Guardians coming up. I feel the same I did about the Cardinals going into the Cubs series as I do coming out of it. They're an interesting team. I don't think they have enough juice to make it into the playoffs this year. At least I don't think, especially because like this Chicago Cubs team, their clear issue is starting pitching, right? You don't want Ben Brown going out there anymore. Taillon's been decent this year, but falling off a little bit. And guess what? Cardinals, I don't think they're going to add much, if anything. And the Cubs, I'm pretty sure, are going to be pretty aggressive to add starting pitching. So their weakness, I think, they're going to get better at. The Cardinals is just kind of like, hey, can our guys produce better than they have before? And that's going to be a tough task down the stretch. But let's jump into these player evaluations, guys. Do you think there's been a lot of fluctuation since the beginning of June? And honestly, my hot take, and it's just kind of, or not my hot take, but my take going into this, and we'll see if it bears out. I'm not going to try and force it to look like this, but I have a feeling the list is going to be a lot more centered than it was before. A lot more B's and C's and D's, very few A's and S's, very few F's, because that's kind of what this team's been this year. It's been a very middle of the pack team. Hopefully Andrew is frozen on my end, so I don't know if I'm the one who's frozen on this now. I sure hope not. I'm gonna add all right, let me know if I'm the one who's live still. Chat, how are we feeling? Okay, looks like Andrew's coming back in. Sorry, guys. I was trying to figure out what was happening there. Okay. We got Andrew back. He'll throw up the... I wasn't sure if it was me or...
Sorry. I don't know what just happened. So, I think it's just because I have too many tabs open and it got
Cool. Well, he's going to throw it up here in a second. So basically, we do this every single month. Sorry for the pause there, guys. I was trying to figure out if it was me or Andrew was still alive or if I was the one who'd frozen out. We do this tier list at the end of every month where we kind of evaluate where players have been. Again, reminder of how we do this is not a June tier list. We're not ranking how they did in June. We're ranking how they've been throughout the season so far.
That's unfortunate. I don't know what's going on, man.
Wait, is that the... You might be able to zoom in more.
No,
also, is that the present mode?
Yeah, it is. I have no idea why there's all these ads on the screen. Just bear with us for a second.
Okay, you can bounce off it for a second if you want to. I'll keep explaining. So again, we go through the tier list. We rank how they've been through the season so far. And it's a mix. It's mostly, again, what they've performed on the field so far. But we do integrate a few things such as like, what are the expectations for that player this year? And so like we have higher standards for Brendan Donovan than we do Thomas Ajayci. But we're not going to rank Thomas Ajayci an S tier player for no reason either. And then we're also going to take things into account like, hey, when we talk about Eric Fetty, the expected stats will come into play a little bit because it tells us who we think he actually has been and who we think he's going to be. But we also don't let that force our ranking too much. So we're not going to just solely put a guy in a tier because we don't think they're as good as the numbers show. But it's a mixture of things. It's more of an art than a science. But we've had a lot of fun with it. It's sad that we don't have Sandy for this one because I think some of the guys he glazes are in weird spots, and so it would be kind of funny to get his perspective on those. So Andrew's fixing it. I'll comment on a couple things real quick. Quinn Matthews, again, looked awesome this past week. It'd be really awesome if he can make the rotation here soon. Again, there's no rush on my end at all about that, but he's probably, besides if Takoro Roby at some point later in this year gets things figured out, probably the one ability for the Cardinals to add some upside to this rotation. So speaking of Mr. Eric Fetty, Andrew, I think I'm going to throw him in D tier, maybe C tier, but I think D tier. Actually, I think I'd go C tier because it's before that last start was a mid 3s ERA. I think it's trending toward D tier is probably a more fair way to say it. He's been at perfectly average back end in the rotation starter this year, but I think it could get worse.
For a second, I thought you were going to go even harsher than I was. And I was like, man, I mean, it's only been one awful start. He had one in Boston too, but like as of lately, I think it's been like passable, but not in a pretty way. And then yesterday was obviously not good. So yeah, I think C tier makes a lot of sense for Eric Fetty. Sorry for the ad in the bottom. I tried to fix it, but the site's not letting me use my ad blocker anymore because they want to make a little bit of money, which is fair.
Jordan Walker,
F tier.
Yeah, it's got to be. This has been like worst case disaster season for Jordan Walker so far. He's almost 50% below league average at the plate. I know he's gotten better defensively and love to see it, but man, he's just unplayable right now at the plate. Injuries are also not helping his case at all. Honestly, I'm going to say it feels very Dylan Carlson-y right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's frustrating. I wish Walker, like the thing is, I understand people's frustration. They want to see Walker, play every day, but I don't know if I like it, especially like this team was in a playoff spot a couple days ago, and like if you're in a playoff series right now, like there's not a chance Jordan Walker's even on the roster, let alone like playing, like starting. So I don't know what to do. Like guys like Gorman have earned it, right? Like I was getting to the point with Gorman where it's like I don't know, but I was like, no, you got to play these guys every day, and I don't know. Maybe he's going to take reps at third. That's what we saw the other day, wasn't it? Some of those videos.
Yeah, I don't think
if they can trade Arenado at the deadline. Man,
no, that's not happening. Imagine though. Alec Burleson, I think A tier.
Yeah, he would have been an S tier like a couple days ago, like after the first game with all those homers.
Yeah, because he had
gone a little bit colder since then.
Yeah, he had above
800 OPS, 830 OPS, which is like pretty high. I just can't justify putting him in S because of defense.
Yeah, I was even debating between B tier technically. He didn't have such a terrible start tier, but I think it's an A tier.
Yeah.
But yeah, he easily could if he continues this trajectory he's been on last month and a half, 2 months. Like he could be all the way up into S tier soon. So he's been awesome. Yeah. Andre Palante, I feel like it's probably a C tier as well, right? With Eric Fetty, very similar type of production this year. They're 4.43 ERA compared to Eric Fetty's 4.11. Again, he's another guy that I think, like, you look at the numbers, like batting average allowed 260 this year. He's 1.2 or 1.35 fit or whip, not FIP. He's gotten a little bit better. He's had some of his better starts of the year as of late. That start before he blew up against the Brewers, like he had some swing and miss there. That was really interesting. So I'm hopeful he's starting to figure things out. But I think overall in the year, it's been kind of like a C, maybe D, but I'd say C tier.
I would say a C. A little bit worse than Fetty. Like the metrics and the numbers there, I think, are better than Fetty. But yeah, the overall the results have been a little bit worse. So I'd put him right behind Eric Fetty.
Yeah. Gorm is a hard one to rank. So his overall stats on the year now, he's up to a 222, 315, 405 slash line, 720 OPS. He has 6 home runs and 8 doubles in 53 games, 153 plate at bats, not plate appearances. I think it's probably a C tier at this point because he basically didn't play and was bad to start the year, and then he's been playing more and more and been really good. I could kind of see an argument for B tier for how it's been lately, but I feel like you need a little bit more of a sample size to throw that out there and the overall numbers be better.
106 WRC plus is like, I mean, it's above average, right? But not like that much above average. But he also has like been a lot better. Like I think OPS in the 900s in June.
For sure.
So,
which it's like, so you take that into account. That's awesome, right? 903 OPS his last 22 games played, 64 at bats over the last 3 days. So that's all really good. The defense is fine. I could see a bottom of B, top of C type of thing for me.
Yeah, I think I would go. This is hard because I'm so partial to Nolan Gorman, and I know people don't like that.
And I don't mean the C thing is a diss at all. It's more like he just hasn't had enough yet.
That's fair. I think C is fair. But above,
I'm with you in that I kind of feel bad putting him there because lately it's been so good that C feels diminishing to it.
Yeah. I mean, he was an F to start the season, so like it's not.
Yeah, that's true.
You can jump up 2 tiers, or he was probably an F last time. I don't know. I don't remember.
It's probably F or D.
I can't imagine he wasn't.
Thomas JC, I would say probably right behind him in C tier. Again, he hasn't had quite the opportunity that you'd want this year, but you're looking at a 728 OPS in the year. He's slashing 291, 310, 418. They really need that right-handed bat, but again, it's 18 games, 55 at bats.
You say A tier or B tier?
Oh, sorry. I said C tier below Gorm.
C tier.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty average OPS. It's like
I was going to put him in B tier, but
I mean, so he's behind Herrera, Donovan, Burleson, Pozo, Contreras to JC. So he's like their 7th or 8th. He's just ahead of Gorm in OPS right now. I mean, I guess I could see B, but it's a 5-point gap, and he has far less plate appearances than Nolan Gorman so far.
I don't think it's fair to penalize guys on plate appearance because he just hasn't been here. Like it's not really.
Yeah, but I don't think like overall I'd be
like we're not gonna put Fermin in S tier because he's hitting 1,000, but like.
Yeah,
I feel like he's played enough where it's like not, like I don't know.
Yeah, I can see B. It's just a pretty average OPS at this point, but I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Gordon Graceffo, I think that's the next one. It's kind of small for me.
It's Graceffo.
Where's he at? He's 6.62 right now. I mean, I think D or
I wouldn't put F tier because like there was that one time they just hung him out to dry in Boston.
That's true.
And I feel like we discount like I think we're far enough past Boston where we can discount that, but he also like hasn't really played.
Yeah, he also gave up like 4 against Texas, but that was also kind of a weird one. He's kind of been up and down. I think D is fair for him.
D is fair.
It seems like we've gotten a lot of agreement so far from the chat.
Yeah.
A run of C guys.
Yeah.
Definitely throw Miles Michaelis at C tier. Again, it's basically like him, Fetty, Palante, and Michaelis are basically the same guy right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I'm harder on Fetty because you expect more out of him, and Palante, I'm like, whatever. He's a young guy. He'll figure it out. Michaelis, I'm like pleasantly surprised by, but which is sad to say. Riley O'Brien though actually would probably be more of an A tier to me. Yeah. Because he's been actually like awesome. He's got a 2.4 ERA right now in his 15 innings of work, 12 games, especially lately. He's been huge for them. So I really liked Riley O'Brien.
Yeah, Pages always gets flack. Every time we do Pages, like there's people that say we should put him too low and too high, and we kind of just put him in the middle.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that are interesting in working Pages' favor. Is that like, I mean, you see like when Pozo's behind the plate or Herrera's behind the plate, and it feels like those are the games where you have blowups. That doesn't really happen with Pages. It's like the team ERA is like a 3.3 with him. Pozo, it's like a 4.20, and then Herrera, it's over 5. He does throw out runners better. I will say lately, though, like Pages has had some blunders at the plate that are kind of weird. And he's also now a 615 OPS, so he's barely above. I mean, not barely above Jordan Walker. Actually, he's actually got a decent lead on him, which is sad. But he's close to a 600 OPS. I think he's your start. So right now he is this year he's been the Cardinals' starting catcher. So we're not grading him on what a backup catcher does. The Cardinals have made him the starting catcher. I think bottom of C or top of D is fine with me.
I was gonna do D tier. I mean, I just like it's good to have that arm behind the plate, but there have also been a couple of times where I'm like, what, like this is the guy everyone's like talking about defensively. If you look at like 75 WRC plus, he's 25% below league average. And his defense isn't like otherworldly. Like Victor Scott, we'll get to in a second. He has a 90 WRC plus, and his defense is like tremendously helpful. Like Pages, I think, is only like he's helpful because the other two options the Cardinals have are so like bad defensively, where like Herrera just can't seem to throw, which I don't really care. I think he like when he's healthy, he should still be catching most of the time. And Pozo like has like a couple times where he's let balls get away. I think it's happened like in each of the last 2 appearances he's had behind the plate. He's had a ball get by that's like, I don't like that. Probably wouldn't get by Pages, but I feel like most catchers, like he's like an above average defensive catcher, but he's not like that good of a catcher where he should be in like he should have that much added for his defensive value.
Yeah, I do think
I would put him in the top of D tier.
I think I'm fine with that. I think the part where I go back and forth and I could vault him up slightly higher is the fact that the club's ERA with him behind the plate is like, I mean, if you told me they would have a low to mid 3s ERA on the year right now, I'd be like, no way. So that's pretty awesome. But it's also like it's hard to know how much that's like truly could be attributed to him, but you do have 2 years of sample size now that show he's significantly better than Ivan and Wilson were calling games and now Pozo. So I could see bottom of C tier purely, I mean, because of how much that carries his value, but I'm fine with top of D tier as well. So let's thank a couple of our sponsors real quick before we continue on this tier list. Always are presented by 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 All Boulevard and all that. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. They buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards. They have the newest selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. Make sure you go check them out. And we also want to thank our other sponsor of the podcast, and that's Underdog Sports. The Deal in the Cards podcast is proud to be partnered with Underdog Sports, our favorite place to play fantasy games. You're now eligible to play in Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, and 37 other U.S. states. You got to check out Pick'em. It's so easy to play. You just pick 2 to 8 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can win 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. If that sounds like fun, sign up with our promo code CARDS to claim your first free pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We can't wait to see your entries. Let's continue on with our tier list here. So Matthew Liberatore, you look at his ERA now, it's closer to 4 than it is 3. His FIP does still look really good, and he's bounced back. I would put him in B tier.
I think that's fair.
But yeah, I think he could easily rise. He could easily fall. It's gonna be interesting to see how that goes.
And like if we were removing, people got mad at us for putting Mikolas in F tier after the Boston start. If you remove like, I think he had 1 or 2 really bad starts. If you remove one of those, I think it gets closer to like a B tier, B plus tier kind of guy.
For Steven Matz, where are you at on him now?
It's been rough. I'll pull up the numbers real quick. Because I mean, like, it's 4.15 now. Because it was sub 2 for a while, and I know it's been like not as pretty recently.
What do you say? 4.15 is ERA?
Yeah.
For Mats, I thought it's 3.5.
Nope, it's 4.15 now. At
Oh,
least
is
that's
it
what it
just
says in Fangraphs. Yeah, it's dipped quite a bit.
wait, his FIP or his ERA?
His FIP is 3.13.
I've got on MLB.com his ERA at 3.5. Steven Matz.
Maybe I have the wrong.
Fangraphs doesn't update until the next day typically, but did Matz
He
pitch
didn't
today?
pitch today. Well, it does say 350. Okay, I don't know what's
Okay,
going
that's
on.
weird.
So
I think he's probably a B tier guy.
Like B tier. I feel like B tier. 4.15 would have put me in C tier.
Yeah,
I think B tier is fair.
and
for him.
apologies
It's
to
disappointing that he doesn't have as much trade value, I guess, as he did probably a couple weeks ago. But
we'll see. I mean, it's again a few appearances will drop that ERA pretty quick, and that's a reliever, right? Like teams know that. And I don't remember who was reporting it recently, but someone, I think it was maybe Derek Gould, was talking about like teams are really like, I don't know, it might not have been him, so don't quote me on it, but Steven Matz was a name that's thrown out that teams are really hoping will be available. So I do think he's a guy that teams want. But again, I don't, at this rate, the Cardinals probably aren't selling anybody. They're probably just holding everybody, but we'll see what happens. King, sorry, Sandy, F tier. Maybe D tier.
We're not going to put, or we'll put him ahead of Walker.
Yeah,
no, it's been bad. It's been bad.
Yeah, you're good. You're right. It's not
been
good.
really bad. It's not.
Good.
It's not. It's D tier.
Luke and Baker's probably D tier.
Yeah,
because it's fine. He hasn't been up in a while either.
Yeah, I don't think he's played since the last time we did this. And I think he was probably in D tier too. So
yeah, I think he had like a mid-7s OPS against left-handed pitching, but he's a DH only. It's Wilson's another hard one to rank. I mean, when you go by OPS, he's higher than Sajaci and Gorm, who we have seen in C and B tier. But I think you expect more out of Whiskey Contreras this year. He's had some really high highs. He's had some low lows. I think I'd put him in B tier because overall the production has leveled out to be good. And then also I do think he's been a leader on this team. He's played a good defensive first base, although it feels like there's been more blunders as of late. Like, anyways, he's dropped some pop flies. He's had some weird drops at first base. Today he held the ball really long on that rundown that ended up letting PCA score. But overall, he's been really good defensively. I think a B tier is fair.
Yeah, let's do it.
How would you grade Ryan Helsley, though?
I don't think it's the numbers. I don't think, because the numbers are like okay.
Fine. Yeah.
So
but he's a 1.46 whip on the year now, which is pretty not great.
Yeah. And then like he was the lockdown closer last year. He's just not that. Like that was S tier for sure. Like best reliever in baseball maybe last year, but this year it's just been quite a step back. And
here's how I like how Leo said it. C for performance, F- for how I feel. I think if we're being fair, he's a C tier guy, but it feels so much worse. Because I have a hard time putting him in D or F. Oh.
Yeah, I probably would have put him in D like a couple weeks ago. Because I feel like he's gotten it done in the last like couple of appearances. But it hasn't been pretty, especially the one against the Cubs in game 2, where, he lets the tying run on third. And then there's like we needed a sick play from Arenado to even win that game in the 9th inning. But
yeah,
aside from that, it's been fine.
Yeah. True. Savantson, I think probably B tier, 3.45 ERA, 15 innings. He's come up and done what they need from him. He's covered multiple innings at times when needed.
I'm gonna put him behind Matz. He doesn't. Like Matz is probably.
Oh yeah, Matz is better.
Been a little bit. Ryan Vallejo.
You want to do the honors?
Sure.
Does he go below or does he go higher than Walker? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think he's below Walker for sure. Yeah. He was so bad. And then we're on to Victor Scott now, and that's a tough one too. I don't fully know what to do with him. I think he's probably like bottom of C.
Oh, really? No.
Maybe top of C because the defense is so stinking good, and he has
I
stolen
was gonna
24
put him at the
bags
bottom
this
of
year.
B.
Oh, sorry, not 24 bags. He's stolen.
He's only 10%. If you told me coming into the
2.
season, Victor Scott would have a 90 WRC plus in June and at the end of June,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
would you be happy with that result?
Oh yeah, I'd be happy with that. But I also think like we gotta be fair to who he is, though, right? Like
He's 4th among position players in F4 right now. He's behind Donovan, Wynn, and Herrera. No one else has contributed more.
So are you saying B then?
Yeah.
I could see it.
He has more F4 than Contreras.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I like it. I guess I let it hit my head a little bit about how bad the offense has been lately.
No, it's back to a 90. He's been okay. Like recently, he's been a lot better, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely gotten boosted up since that Brewers series, but I think overall it's still not great. But they're protecting him against lefties now, which is probably gonna be really helpful for him. And I would like to say, like, I mean, you had Hampson start these last few games. Hopefully, when Nootbaar's healthy, Nootbaar can get some of those starts on those days against lefties. But I do. This is not like I am not at all being like don't like Victor Scott. I'm a huge Victor Scott fan, and that's been awesome. I just think like he has cooled off for sure since what he was earlier this year. But yeah, to your point, we weren't expecting him to be that good. So I like that. B tier is good. Kyle Leahy's another guy who's cooled off big time. But he still has a 2.82 ERA on the year.
2.95. So, yeah, I would put him in B tier ahead of like Matz and some of these guys. I don't think the ordering really matters. Kind of no particular order for these tier lists, but
yeah. Also, I don't think are you looking on Fangraphs or something else? Because I don't think yours have updated.
Baseball Reference.
Okay, he's at 2.82. MLB.com post game is usually the quickest one at it, but I would say he's in B tier overall in the year, but it's definitely trending towards C tier. I think he's given up like 10 runs in his last 12 innings pitched, which is not great. So, anyways, McDreamy, like C. He's a low 4 ERA guy when he's come up and spot starts, and he's had really tough matchups too, right? He's at the Cubs, Dodgers, and he came in a relief appearance against the Mets. So he's done his job, and you could argue because he's gone against really tough offenses, that's a B tier, but I would say it's probably more fair to say he's a C tier guy.
Well, he's gone up against all 3 first place. Oh, the Mets aren't in first place anymore, I guess, but they were at the time.
I remember everyone likes to tell me when the Cardinals have a bad week and a half of baseball that they're just the worst team of all time, but the Mets literally lost 10 of their last 11. I don't know if they've come out of that yet. Like it happens. Every team does that. Anyways. Sorry, I had to go on that rant.
Lars Nootbaar. I think he's in B tier. I think he's earned his way back into B tier.
I think he's right behind or right either above or behind Contreras in B tier.
I would put him ahead of. I mean, like,
where's he ranked? B.
It was just so bad for that 1 week, and then now it's like fine again. Well, now it's like more than fine. He's been hitting homers, extra base hits, getting on base again.
Yeah. His WAR is down to 1 on the year F4 wise, so it's actually dropped a lot more than I thought it would. 106 OPS or WRC plus, which is tied for 4th or 5th on team with Gorm. Yeah. So,
do you evaluate Garrett Hampson as a pitcher or as a hitter?
S tier. He's a 2-way player.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. He got a hit today. One of like what 3 guys to get a hit?
Yeah. I think because it's barely been anything, you probably put him in D or C, right?
No, he I mean is the most efficient reliever in baseball this year.
He did save the Cardinals bullpen. He is 334 OPS right now. Does play good defense. I don't know have his Cardinals defensive metrics from 2 games of baseball in front of me right now, but I would probably put him in D tier. But I think if we put him anything higher than that, we're going to get a revolt and we can't explain it without them listening. And I don't want that. So I say D tier.
I'm like, I can't put him any lower than C tier.
Maybe you can make a different 2-way player version of him and then put that up higher.
That's fine. I'll just do it in post edits.
If you want to put him in C tier, it's whatever. I don't care.
He's a 2-way player. Roycroft hasn't played. He was in F tier last time. He's gonna. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of someone else. Never mind.
But I mean, he's a 6.92 ERA on the year, and it hasn't really been
Yeah,
better since he's come up. So I think F tier is fine too. Donnie, I kind of think he's fallen into A tier.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's sub 800 OPS now. Hopefully he gets it going again soon. I kind of, especially with how Newt's been playing lately, it's hard because he's now hurt again. And it sounds like he'll be back for a Cleveland series, but it's a part of me that kind of wants them to shake up the order again and move Donnie back down to 3 because I don't know if the leadoff spot's been the best fit for him. And Newt's kind of got that swing back. And again, we're not talking about a young guy here. We're talking about a guy that I think once he figures it out, you can go ahead and be aggressive with moving him back up. But yeah, Donnie's been struggling lately. Still an all-star in my opinion, but just not.
Well, he should have 2 homers if not for PCA, but
that's true. That's
but true. Also, thanks for the free run, PCA. Appreciate that.
It is the last run we scored in the series, so love that.
Is it? Oh wow!
Yeah.
Thanks, PCA.
Andre Granillo, A tier. I feel like 1.35 ERA, 6 2/3. Hopefully he's back soon after.
I don't think we'll be seeing him again. But
oh shoot, I forgot about the elbow thing. Gosh, I hope he's okay. They haven't announced anything yet, right?
No, but that sounds bad.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, sometimes it looks bad and it's not, but usually it is. So, gosh, hopefully he's okay. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Phil Maton.
I think he's our first best here.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. 1.76 ERA, 11 or 30 and 2/3 innings pitched. It's been stinking awesome. 41 strikeouts in those 30 innings too. 1.08 FIP or WHIP. Geez, keep saying FIP. And a 204 batting average allowed. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Mason win. Ooh. B tier?
Yeah, definitely B tier. I'm just trying to figure out where in B tier I think he is. I kind of think he's toward the top of it because the defense is so good.
Yeah, I would go borderline A tier, but because he's been turning it on a little bit lately. He was one of the only guys that looked competent against Imanaga today.
He's basically he's basically a league average hitter right now. I do think you could add in like he doesn't steal a lot of bases, which kind of goes against them, but like this like that PCA thing, like the stolen bases.
Well, I think that was just like I think Albert Pujols would have scored on that because PCA just fell asleep. Like
it just until this series, he had been like a low 600s OPS guy over last month. I would be curious where it's at now. Last 30 days, I'm gonna try and find that real quick. Because Mason Wheeler last 30 days 641 OPS now. I could see bottom of A if we wanted to, but I think top of B is probably most fair.
Because he's second on the team in F4 right now.
Oh, let's do it then.
Right
but I think he's fringy, where it's like it could like in a week or two be down in B's pretty easily. But
next two are easy. Rodri Munoz and Ryan Fernandez both go in F tier.
Yeah, I would like to see Fernandez soon, and honestly, might have to because the Granillo side of things. So
true.
So Nato's really interesting.
If he undergoes like a big elbow person, which hopefully that doesn't happen, but like if that were to happen, does he go on the 60-day or is that like minor league stuff?
Granillo?
Yeah, because I know Hentz was on the 60-day minor league IL, but he was still on the 40-man.
Yes. I think he would go on the 60-day for the major league. I think Hentz might have been because he hadn't been on the big league roster yet. I don't fully understand how that one works. And I think they could have moved him to the true 60-day if they needed to free up a 40-man spot. Actually, I think it does count as a 40-man spot with the minor league 60-day if they're on the 40-man. So yeah, so I think it's just semantics at that point because he's never been in the major leagues. So Nolan Arenado on the year, it's a sub 700 OPS. The defense has been great though. It's back, which is awesome. This month, or I guess maybe not the month, but last few weeks, his offense has really turned on a lot, and he's come up and clutch in big spots.
I would put him at the top of C tier.
I think you're right on that. There's a part of me that's starting to lean toward bottom of B. Oh man, even though last 7 days, never mind. His OPS actually dropped even more again, 568. So he made that game on Tuesday was stinking awesome. Love that from Nato. He's been about average this year, especially because expectations, right? Like you need more from that guy offensively.
Yeah.
So I would be curious where he ranks him on all third basemen and defense run save now. I might try to find that.
Might win another Gold Glove because Matt Chapman's been hurt.
That's true, which would be awesome. But again, he's a below average hitter, so that doesn't for me. make you a B player. Which I know you're not saying, but I'm saying chat like defense alone. I'm like, well, he's gonna have some bat, and mostly has not had a bat this year, so it's kind of tough.
You guys want to? I think he's up in the top of clutch metrics.
Yeah, that I was about to say the other thing is that you can trust him in big spots, which I think matters. So I guess I could see bottom. I think I could see bottom of B if we wanted, but I'm fine with top of C.
Yeah. Pozo. I finally gave him the Cardinals hat for all the people on Twitter that was saying, "Why is he still in A's hat?" I couldn't find a picture until this time. So there you go.
Beautiful. Where are we at with that? Also, defense run saved. Nato's 6th in all baseball, 3 outs above average. He is 3rd with 3. So
cool. Yeah.
Anyways, pretty good. But Pozo,
I would go like. Is he still hitting 300?
He's hitting 310. Yeah,
that's so funny because his WRC plus is high, 112. That would be what, like. That's just behind Burleson, ahead of Contreras.
Yeah, the defense is just not great though. But I could see bottom of B.
I like Pozo. I mean, he's the backup catcher.
That's true. That's fair.
You cannot put Pozo above Pajes. Why? He's been like, what?
I mean, that is part of this conversation. Though. It's like as a back, we're talking about like Pajes. Like we gave him grace in the past because it's like, well, technically he's a backup catcher. It's like no, the Cardinals have made him the starting catcher. Like he is their starting catcher, so we grade him like that. Pozo is the backup.
He's almost 40% better than Pajes offensively.
Yeah, but
I think Warren's starting him more often while Herrera's gone. But you know what?
I'm fine with B on that. JoJo has quietly bounced back. He's been a lot better and helpful as of late. He is out as 2.92 ERA on the year. I think B tier would be great for him, right around that Leahy range.
Yeah.
Sonny Gray, I think like bottom of B for me, maybe high C, but I think bottom of B.
Yeah, I think like Sonny Gray, it's been disappointing, but
yeah, but he could shove tomorrow, and then it looks a lot better. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to put Firmino.
I put him in there because you mentioned him at the last minute, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah."
I didn't.
Let's not rank him. I just don't feel like there's a win with that one. So,
yeah, and he hasn't pitched yet, so I don't really care.
Oh, okay. Barrero F tier.
Yeah.
Okay. Ciani.
D tier. He hasn't played.
Yeah, but I mean he's played slightly, but yeah, I think D tier is fine because yeah.
And then
Ivan, yeah, S tier. Him and Phil. Honestly, I put him above Phil. I love Phil, but Ivan, baby. How do you think Ollie's doing? Gut check.
S tier, man. I don't understand. Okay, like I don't understand why people get mad at Ollie. People on Twitter, like I see it every day. People are like, "Why? This is a terrible lineup. Why is Ollie benching Walker?" One, Walker's been hurt, so there you go. Nootbaar, why is he benched today? Well, he's also been hurt. That's not really Ollie's fault. I think you should ask communications to tell you guys these things instead of Ollie, because these are things I feel like we should be hearing about, so we don't all trash on Ollie when you don't like the lineup and someone's gotten hurt and you just don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing I'll go back to every time with Ollie is you evaluate a manager based on the expectations you had at the start of the season, how your team's been performing, and which one has been better, right? Like this team was expected to be just awful. Like you look at even MLB.com won't give the Cardinals credit right now. They're saying, oh, they're going to fall off and be sellers in the second half. That might happen. I don't know. But to write them off that quickly, I think is a little bit disingenuous given like the way that they've been playing. Like last year was kind of fake. There were things that were definitely not going the Cardinals' way, and you could easily see that falling off. I don't really see that right now other than, just the rotation not holding up. But Ollie has done a great job managing the bullpen, managing playing time for the young guys. I was frustrated with the way he handled Gorman, but now it seems like they've given him the runway that they need to see what they have in him. Walker not playing, even if he was healthy, I think is not a huge problem because you have to find playing time for Burleson. You have to find playing time for Gorman.
Yeah.
Newtbar has to play. Donovan has to play. There's not really anybody that he's playing right now that is like, oh, well, this guy really should not be getting playing time over Walker. Even Pajes, like when Herrera comes back, I would like to see him catch more, but Pajes has been like, what is he? Like he's probably like 20 or 30% better than Jordan Walker right now, right?
Yeah.
Like Pajes has a 75 WRC plus. Walker, I can't even find him because he's at the bottom. He has a 60 WRC plus. So he's been 15% better than Jordan Walker. It's not like, and I get that Walker has more upside than Pajes, but I can't be too mad about that. That's a thing where, like, you know, I can value this, but clearly Pajes is working for the Cardinals defensively in ways that Herrera isn't. We can have that discussion. I think Herrera should be playing, but he's not even here right now, so there's not really anything you can say about that.
Yeah, and I think
And
overall,
aside from him, there's no one on the team where you can really give that playing time to for Walker, right? Like Scott's a guy you give runway to. He's 30% better than Walker this season. When you're not going to bench Arenado, you could maybe trade, but that's not a thing that's going to happen. And if Arenado's on this roster, he's going to play too, right? Because guess what? They're paying him, and he's been like semi productive offensively, and he's been great in the field. So I don't know what you're going to do with that.
yeah.
So I think Ollie, yeah,
the roster crunch is there, and even with your Gorm comments earlier, it's fair, but they also work behind the scenes with Gorm to get him better in a way that he probably needed before he got on the field, and they had to fit other guys in too. And now he's in, and now other guys feel the roster crunch. And then you see right now, like, he's had a weird bench to work with all year. Bullpen, like, most of the time you can really only trust 3 to 4 arms at a time, and so people blame him for making the wrong calls all the time when it's like, I don't know what else you do in some of those situations. I'm good with Ollie being S tier. I really do. I think this team is performing really well. I think he's helping him do it. Can I make an argument for the sweep on the rest of these guys here? I think Brant Brown, I put an A tier because of the fact that most of the young guys are producing, or you see like developments.
Can I put Ollie pointing to Yvonne and Phil? He's giving credit to his guys again. There you go.
I think I like the semantics of it, but people are going to be like, how is he the best thing about this team?
That's fine.
But so I think Brant Brown's like an A. It's not, I want to say S, but it's been so much better that I think you got to put him in A. I think you can make an argument that DeWitt's in DeWitt's in the F tier and Mo is in like low C, high D tier because some of the constraints for Mo are because of DeWitt, right? Like the fact they couldn't spend money and go out and do things, that's a DeWitt decision. But at the same time, they could have traded away Fetty. But like, I'm not really mad about the Helsley personally. I'm not mad about Steven Matz at all. Nato, they couldn't move. And who's the other guy that people wanted traded? I think that's it. Like the lack
Fetty.
of movement, bringing things in. Oh yeah, Fetty. Fetty's the one where I'm like, you should have done that. But other than that, everything else is kind of like, okay, I get why they didn't do it. Besides Fetty, and then they couldn't really go do things because of their constraints. But the one thing they could go get Phil Maton has worked out. I think it's kind of C or top of D because basically the plan was just kind of take the same, like just let the guys you have play. And so it's like, I don't know how you it's gone pretty well so far. So I don't know how you give it an F. But yeah, so that's where I think on that. But
I just heard Mo has something to say for his favorite employee.
Thanks, Mo. Appreciate it. Thanks for the birthday.
Let's get a happy birthday, Josh, in the chat.
I forgot we have that. It's been sitting there for a year. That's crazy. And then I guess for the Cardinals, I will say I think B tier right now. I mean, they're
B tier. Really?
Where would you put them?
I was going to put them in. They're 6 games above 500.
But as like a team, I don't think they're an A team though.
But
I get that with expectations. But they're not a playoff team right now. I feel like if you're an A team,
if they were in the American League, I think they would have the first wild. I know, but that's not fair to them.
If you're ranking teams right now, they're probably like the 12th best team, 13th best team in baseball type thing. I think it's like a B team, and that's not a bad thing. Like it's been a good year. I've been impressed with them this year, but I don't.
They would have a 2.5 game lead for a playoff spot in the American League. I feel like that deserves some credit. The National League is tough, and I think we've all acknowledged that, right?
Yeah. I just if we talk about like what an A tier team is, I guess if you want to put the expectations, I get it, but I think that's also part of B
And let's
because
rank the teams in the National League: Dodgers, Cubs, Mets. They're all Phillies. I think those are the S tier teams.
yeah,
And then
you
like
probably,
Brewers, Padres, Giants, Cardinals. I feel like are all like, you know, you're a game back of the Padres and the Giants. Where would you put the Padres?
probably B, and Giants probably
Really?
B too, but
The Padres are a good team. I don't know.
because I wouldn't put like, I would say more S tier is Dodgers, Mets. A tier is like Cubs, Phillies, Padres maybe, and then B tier is like Giants, Cardinals,
That's
Diamondbacks,
fair.
stuff like that.
Well,
But
Diamondbacks
if
are
you
three games, or
if
two
you want
games
to put them
back.
bottom of May, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because they could,
I'll
but
put them in B. I feel like more of the players are in B.
yeah, it's just kind of hard to say that they're an A team tier to me. But
Yeah.
I mean, again, a few weeks from now they could be. But anyways, I think if you're an A tier team, I think you're like a surefire playoff team at that point. Cardinals aren't a surefire playoff team.
Yeah,
They're probably the bottom of that list of teams, which might be
That's
top
fair.
of team. So, anyways, I gotta get rolling. This has been super fun. Andrew, thanks for doing this. I always enjoy the tier list. Chat, thanks for tuning in as always. Audio, I know these can be difficult ones to listen to, so we appreciate it. You can go check out the YouTube if you want to look at it, or social medias for those. We'll be back after the Guardian series this weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, PCA.